All right, welcome back to Unscripted from my Jerseys of Hope studios here in Hilliard, Ohio. This is going to be interesting tonight. We've got a round table. We've got multiple guests, one returning for the, I guess, second or third time. I can't remember how many times, but Dr. Onetti, why don't we start with you? And why don't we just talk about DoMojo and let you introduce the guys?
Yeah, Aaron, thanks, man. This is, I think, our third time. First time was I think I was your first one of your first five. I was a
Absolutely.
practice dummy, so um, this is exciting. So we're launching DoMojo, which is a mindset and coaching performance company. Um, Thanks for introducing me. I go by a variety of different hats. Coach Onati, Dr. Onati, Jimmy Onati, as you can kind of see. So you might hear me be called any of those things here. So we have some of our coaches here on staff that we're getting ready to launch, and I'll let them do their intros and background. So I'll start on my screen here with Coach Osmond. Why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and your path to DoMojo and how we kind of got you involved in this process here, and we'll talk a little bit more about DoMojo after everybody gets the intros.
Awesome. Well, so my path, I'm an Ohio native. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Family of five, twin brother. That's how I met Coach Onati. My brother and I played baseball and at Olentangy Liberty High School. And we were blessed to have Coach Onati as a guy who would get on us from time to time. But I ended up going to college at Wittenberg University, played baseball there, actually played there for 5 years, a little longer than a normal 4-year education. And then I'm actually transferred to Troy University, and it's a Division I down in Alabama. Had the opportunity to play ball there, and I actually got introduced into DoMojo when Coach Onati actually reached out to me, and I was a part of a Mindset Monday group with college athletes, and Coach Oakley was included in it as well. And I was extremely interested, and he asked me to join the team, and I was all on board.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I've known you for a little while, so it's fun. I know you're a couple of classes away from getting your MBA, which is, I think, fantastic. So, thanks for taking some time to be here, and we'll talk a lot more. Coach Oakley, what do you got for your story?
Yeah, so similar to Michael, grew up kind of knowing Coach Anati, went to Olentangy Liberty as well, playing baseball there. I've got one younger brother, 4 years younger than me. Both attended Ohio State, but I played baseball at Ohio State, and while I was there, had lots of ups and downs. Knowing a lot of it was because of the mental side, and knowing how impactful that is, kind of how that can change the game. So now being done at Ohio State, I kind of want to be able to pass it on and help other people grow that mindset and help them perform in sports and life. So when Coach Anati kind of introduced me to that, I was definitely all in to be able to help out.
Yeah, and these two guys are pretty humble. I'll talk a little bit more about their accomplishments, but state champs as a junior and senior in high school, and many other accolades that they had there. So I think it's great that you both decided to kind of give back and be part of this team. So I think that's really powerful. Next guy up is Coach Brian Patch. I had the great fortune of coaching his son in baseball. And then also seeing and working with him in the classroom for a couple of years. So, Coach Patch, why don't you tell a little story?
So my path, I guess, is maybe a little different than those guys, as I have kids their guys' age, so that's a little different. But I'm in education. I'm a middle school teacher. I was a basketball coach for 30 years now, head coach for 16 years, and I actually met Coach Onati coaching against him in baseball. And he had a chance to, coach against my son. And then my son actually went and played for him with Bo Jackson Elite. And we just had some conversations. I saw that he was doing some great mindset stuff with my son. And as a coach and a teacher, I loved it. And so I just asked him if he would speak to my leadership class one time. And so he was gracious enough to do that. And so I think it was maybe 2 years or so, Coach, around there that you've been speaking to my classes and my leadership class. And so I kind of got to see this in action, and we were kind of the test pigs for him a little bit with the Mojo as well. And so he had just asked if I wanted to jump on board and help out. And I guess with our relationship that we have and, the importance I saw that the mindset had from an athletic standpoint, a student standpoint, and education, I felt like it was a no-brainer not to be a part of it. So.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome aboard. Yeah, it's been fun. So I can give you a little story on Coach Patch. It's tough to tell on screen here, but he's about 6'8", 6'9", and I never realized how small I really was until I stood next to him and his son. I came up to the middle of their chest, and I realized, like, wow, those are big people. Anyways, so Aaron, thanks for taking a little time to kind of coordinate this thing. I will start off by kind of saying what the DoMojo part is. And so the do part is like stuff that we want to get done, right? We want to do this. And Mojo's definition is a magical power. And what we kind of want to put into and help people is this mindset belief system, right? But it's not a 1, 2, 3 certification, pass a class type of model. It is about kind of relating and talking through sports, but also through any endeavors. It doesn't matter. We start with sports because it's our natural piece, but the DoMojo mindset can go across anything: school, relationships, family, so on and so forth, jobs. And we really kind of want to think about it. A lot of people have been talking about it from like a growth mindset, but I think it's, for us, we just want to kind of have this other piece that it's kind of the missing link for a lot of people. And there's a ton of great sports psychologists out there. There's a ton of great counselors out there. There's a ton of great therapists out there, and they're really, really important. But they're on one end of the spectrum, in my opinion. They're on the 20, maybe 25% of the people who have diagnosed problems. This is not that. The other end of the side, or the other end of the spectrum, is really your coaches, your parents, your teachers. And that's kind of the other influence and we're really focused on the teenagers right now. And those are the influences for teenagers. Sometimes they're the problem too. And so we really want to kind of sit in the middle and be a group of individuals that, we have a foundation that we have built off of contextual intelligence. We have our, workbooks and things to be able to kind of speak through and talk about. But really, we want to be a resource for teenagers primarily, and that's kind of running the gamut from middle school, high school, college, and parents and coaches to be able to bounce ideas off. So, Aaron and I had talked about this for a little while, so we really wanted to kind of take this and take this out further, and that's what this is. This podcast is kind of launching our first one and our first ideas about these things. So, let me kick off by, Aaron, questions, comments, things that you want to know about this, or things that you want to kind of help us help the audience understand.
Sure. I think the biggest thing right away is the link, so people can go and check out the website that you've put together, and you can meet the team there. I know there's a lot of their bios and things there. I corrected the spelling, which was wrong on mine. I love the fact that I spelled graduate wrong. That just tells you what you're dealing with here with me, but that's fine. But no, what's the link for the website?
So our link is at domojo.net. So it's DoMojo is DoMojo. And we really kind of wanted to have that. And that's a .net piece. The key part of DoMojo is kind of dual purposes. One is I wanted to have something that is kind of like, what's your mojo? How do you think? How do you feel? How do you flow? And that's where we kind of did that. And I wanted something that it's a doing part. We're not just talking about something in the classroom. I wear that academic hat. I live that theoretical hat, that research hat. I want something that we're actually out there doing and talking about. So, kids are bringing this back, and college players are bringing this back, and we have discussions. So that's the do part. And the mojo part's that magic that's kind of between our ears, right? The other part of that is, and my wife really helped me this. Her name is Deb, and then my two boys are Mason and Matthew, and then I'm Jimmy. So D-O, last name's Onati. So D-O-M-O-J-O. So I like that we have kind of the family part. It's amazing that I also have my first two coaches, Michael Osmond, MO, and Mitchell Oakley, MO. No offense, Coach Patch, but it was really kind of very unique for me to see the MOs kind of take over this part. So,
Well, that's very cool. The process itself, how does this work for somebody that's listening? We've got the coaches on. I know the coaches work with everyone. How do they go about this process?
yeah, the process is very simple. We really try to look at what's going to work for a team or individual. And there's two parts. One is could be individuals just talking with us and setting us times. We do everything on Zooms. If we happen to be able to do in person, we'll do some in person, but mainly this is Zoom. Trying to meet kids where they're at. Their schedules are so busy. Monday through Sunday, they have so many different activities going on. We felt like Zoom was the easiest way to kind of reach them. So people can sign up on individuals. We recommend a minimum of 3 sessions, just to be able to kind of understand and go. And we have, I have kids from all over the United States, and they do various things, right? Some sign up for a couple of sessions, some sign up for a whole year. We've had kids do this for, 2, 3 years. We've had kids just do 3 sessions. Then we also can do a team, and within the team structure, we meet with the coaches and we talk with the coaches about what they're trying to achieve, what are some of the areas that they want to kind of really go over, and we have a laundry list of topics that we can go over, and we discuss with the coaches what that's going to be, and then we set up those things. And usually they're about anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes, and we top it off at an hour max. Not many people want to be on Zooms much longer than that.
That sounds good. I'll open this up to the whole team. You guys have done some soft launches already. You've worked with some teams. What's been the experience for each one of the coaches, especially that you're kind of on your own now, doing the training or doing the Zoom calls with the teams, with the players? What's been the experience so far?
Yeah, let's go with Coach Patch on that first, since you kind of, we did your basketball team and we've done your middle school classes for a couple of years. But your basketball team probably is the best example of you seeing this in action. So,
Yeah, Coach Onati had worked with our AAU team that we have this past year, and it was just great to see the kids' responses and reactions to it. You had a chance to see their growth. We did a lot of reflections with it. After games, we had the kids write reflections and try to keep things in focus. We'd start practice off with kind of recapping what the topic was for that week, what we hit on, what our discussions points were. And you could just see the kids kind of growing from a mental standpoint and the reactions. You saw the maturity. They were 14-year-old girls, was the team that we had that we were working with. And you could just see them and hear them kind of having some of the same conversations and what we were talking about, which you kind of, at that point, I think, from a coaching standpoint, you understand they're buying into it when they're repeating some of the same stuff that you're talking about on a Wednesday, and they're repeating those same things on a Saturday or a Sunday after games. And so at that point, you kind of see they're buying into it. You start to see that they see the significance of it and the importance of it. You see that it's helping them. And, that was the cool part from a coaching standpoint. Plus, I had a daughter on the team. So from a father standpoint, it was awesome to see, the kids' growth and development from their thought process about how they handle situations, how they saw themselves in those situations, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And all the parents were excited about the growth they had off the court and also on the court from that standpoint. So.
yeah. Yeah, that's great. And it's a combo, right? It's programs, and it's also the kids buying in. It's also the coaches and parents buying in. Michael, you had this, you got the chance to go through it as a player. So maybe kind of seeing that part from your perspective, and now Mitchell's helping both as a player and a coach. So we'll start with you, Michael, as a player, then we'll move to Mitchell as he's transitioned from a player into a coach with our Mindset Mondays.
Yeah, so within the Mindset Mondays as a player, we had them on Mondays specifically for the purpose of a reset of the week. If you know baseball, typically you're playing your weekend series, and we actually ran it throughout the spring season. And so as a player, it was very beneficial to me to have it as like a reset day. Like we're going into our meetings, and they're players from all over the country that are within our mindset group, and it was really unique because we were all able to share our stories in an informal way. Like we're just talking to each other like we are now. But it was also great to see how everyone's relating to each other. It's like I'm not the only one going through this. This guy's going through the same thing as well as all these other guys. So I thought it was really beneficial to me to know like I can talk to them. I can talk to them and we can bounce ideas off each other. Um, and like I said, like our reset day, like it was a reset day. Like let's say I had a bad week. All right, boom, new week, new day. Let's get after it.
Yeah, and Coach Oakley, now that you're seeing it as a coach, we're doing Mindset Mondays with college baseball players now in the fall and the spring, because sometimes the fall is even tougher than the spring from you're really unsure and you got, a lot of people on the team. What do you see in that perspective as you kind of transition now and you see it kind of going?
Yeah, so one of the coolest things I've kind of seen is last year when we were all players, a lot of it was during the season. And during the season, everybody was kind of had different roles on the team. Some people were playing a lot, some people weren't. But everybody was still going through different things and everybody was still learning and being able to talk to everybody. You were all able to get different experiences and learn from each other. And then being a coach now and seeing it in the fall, you can kind of see how people have grown, and fall ball is obviously different. Everybody's playing, and you can see how everybody's kind of bought in, and it's not something that they're just doing. It's kind of something that they're obviously taking serious, and you can tell that it's helping a lot of the players. I know a lot of them have been playing well or have built up a lot of confidence to perform in the fall. So it's just been really cool to kind of see them from a coach's standpoint, and obviously being a part of it when I was as a player learning, but like as a coach, I'm always learning as well. So that's really cool.
I think from a baseball perspective, all sports in general, but from a baseball perspective, there's so much that you're constantly tweaking, you're constantly doing all the practices, the hitting, and probably even willing to admit, man, I'm in a slump, or the numbers typically will show that, but for you guys and even Coach Patch, I have a feeling that at least from a male perspective, I don't think they're as quick to open up and say, hey, my mental, my mental side's not there. It's not sharp, right? I mean, if I know if I'm not hitting well, that's fine. You know what to do. You probably work with some coaches. I think that's what I really wanted to, go through here to talk about is, for the teams and the players that you're working with, I have a feeling it's not as easy to just come through and say, man, my mind's not right. I need to get my mind right and mentally prepare for the game like I do in, hitting or throwing, or if I'm on a throwing program, or, whatever it might be. Is that fair to say? Do you guys think that's kind of what you're, working with everyone on?
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head. We try to create a safe space that's non-judgmental, because we're not deciding lineups. We're not the teammate that they're trying to beat out. We're not deciding whether you make a team or don't make a team. And creating that space for athletes to talk. And we give a topic, like we'll have a topic like handling failure, or we'll have a topic about your, healthy ego or identity, things like that, right? We work on, confidence, visualization. But the key part is we're not judging them. Like we're not judging each other. If there's a couple teammates who are on, they're all bought in when they're on, because they're not trying to beat each other out or beat another team. They're really just trying to get, like you said, get their mind right. And I think that's the really fun part watching this unfold over it. Like I really thought the secret sauce was going to be individual lessons, and really the secret sauce is team stuff. They really they see each other, they open up. It takes a little while sometimes, but the value is the coaches help to guide and get it started, the DoMojo coaches, but the players really take it and run with it. That's when it's really fun.
Well, and I think one of the greatest gifts you can give someone, I like to say, is the gift of going second. So you've put together a team of coaches here that have all played, they've all coached, they've been in the same places that the players that they're speaking with are. And so when I say the gift of going second, these guys can say, "Hey, I've been there." O can say, "Hey, I was at Ohio State." I mean, you did it in the opening here of this podcast. I've been there, and this is some of the things that I've used, to get to a place where I feel better. No, I feel right. And now what you've done is you've allowed every one of those players that are on that, to your point, Coach, just, now you're giving them the gift of saying, okay, good. So now I can open up a little bit, where if you just got on and acted like you got everything going, roses, so to speak, it would be different. So I like what you guys are putting together, and I like the team that you've put together, Coach.
Yeah, I think we got some of the old guys, me and Coach Patch, and Coach Conrad's going to come in and help on some of these too. And we got some of the young bucks, right? We're actually actively looking for. We realize that we have some. It's an all male kind of body here, so we need to look for more females and people who can represent some different age groups and different categories, different sports, different things, right? Coach Patch is really knee deep into the basketball community. Oak and Oz and myself are really knee deep into baseball, sliding over into softball. We have a couple softball teams that I've been working with, and they're fantastic. And it really each person on this brings a slightly different perspective, and so it changes conversations based off of the perspectives. But one of the very first things I can tell you is, we as coaches want to establish trust with our teams and our individuals. And so, what we're doing is not counseling and therapy. So we put that right off the bat is, we're coaching and we're coaching mindset, and we're using some examples and some different things like that. But if we need help, we'll put them, we'll get them, sent to where they need some professional help on those things. Parents understand that what we're doing, and coaches understand what we're doing. But I think the fun part about this thing is that it's a community piece, and I got the great fortunate of having watched these two individuals come through our community. See Coach Patch as both a parent and a coach and a teacher, which has been fun to kind of see all those hats. Soon, I think individuals need to kind of be done with their parts before they move into coaching too much on their own. So, at some point, my youngest son will probably join us in the coaching staff range, but right now he's got a lot of homework and a lot of baseball in front of him to kind of get ready. So I think that's the great part about what we're trying to put together is this kind of family resource for people.
Love it. I'm going to go around the horn twice here. So the first time around the horn, I'd like to just know what's one thing that you'd like everybody to know about this team and about what this mission is that you guys are on. So we'll start with Coach Osmond. Just what's that? What's that one thing that you'd like somebody to know?
You're saying just us personally, or as a
as a group.
collective?
What's one thing you want them to know about this about DoMojo?
I think you said it. We kind of said it earlier. We've all been there. We've been through multiple experiences, athletics. We've been in shoes that these teenagers were in, and we've been there, so we can bring our experiences and relate and help guide.
Love it, Coach Oakley.
Yeah, one thing I would say is kind of the mental performance mindset side is kind of just like the physical side. It's not something you'll be able to just sit in here, do one lesson and kind of be like, yep, I got it. It's something you got to keep working at, practice, and treat it like a physical practice. You got to work on it and do these meetings, kind of get it, kind of slowly progress, but eventually you'll be able to just keep improving, and you'll definitely see a big difference.
There you go. Coach Patch, how about you?
From a coaching standpoint, not just with this coaching, but the other, just overall coaching is, as coaches, we train the skill level in athletes and on teams. And I think we kind of neglect the mental side of things. And, I think, Yogi Berra made a comment about baseball is 90% mental and 50% other stuff or whatever. And I think we do a lot of the skill development. And then when it gets to those pressure situations or big moments, we don't train the kids and the athletes to get prepared from a mental side. And I think this kind of does that. It gets them to think not just about, the physical skills part of it, but it gets them to think about the awareness about themselves and who they are as people. And you really get a chance to see that personal growth.
All right. This is the second time around the horn, and I'm going to start with Coach Onati first. And so you guys get a little bit of a breather to usually I put everybody on the spot on this question, so you guys get a little bit of a head start. But this is a staple of the show. Is typically I ask my guest one simple question, and that is, what would you ask? What would you tell your younger self? So, what's one thing you would tell your younger self? I'll start with Coach Onati.
I'd tell my younger self a lot of stuff. Let me just start off with two. One, you don't know it all, so really just listen more than talk. And two, forgive yourself.
All right, Coach Osmond.
I would say, Coach Anati kind of took it a little bit. I was trying to go a different route. I'm a pretty outgoing person, so I tend to talk sometimes. But I was going to say, listen and learn from everyone around you. It doesn't matter age, younger, older. Listen, observe, and learn from everyone around you.
There you go, Coach Oakley.
Yeah, so I'd say enjoy the journey. Sometimes, or a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves. I know I did. So taking a step back and just having fun and taking it in, that's something that will free you up to just play and do your best. So.
Oh my, that gave me chills right there, because you know how many times I've ended a text with "enjoy the journey," and he just put that one out there. I'm like, how awesome is that?
It can be taught, Coach. It can be taught. All right, Coach Patch, what is something you would tell your younger self?
See, Coach Onani, now you know it hit home when he's repeating what you said. So.
Oh my God, I'm serious, man. My arms are like, the hairs on my arms are up, tingling. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you, Oak, but man, I wish you've done so many awesome things in your life, and you're going to do so many more. And I just wanted you to enjoy it. That's why I love seeing that picture of you dancing the other day. I'm like, yes. Yes.
I've stitched that in here. I'll stitch that video into this show.
You don't get it.
All right, Coach Patch, what would you tell your younger self?
We think failure is a bad thing, and we see it as a negative. And I think the idea of failure usually comes on the other side of that as success. I think when things are going well, we don't look at how to improve and how to get better. And I think sometimes we look at failure as a bad thing, but failure can be a good thing. If you learn those lessons and take them and apply them and figure out, you do that deep dive into yourself or your team of how can we get better. And I think it kind of speeds up the process a little bit more as far as what can we do to improve, because no one, most people, I should say, don't like to lose. They like to win and compete. And so I think the idea that failure is okay as long as you take it and learn from it, and it can kind of be the driving force behind your success.
All great wisdom from the team. I didn't expect any less. Coach Onati, you want to wrap this thing? You want to wrap up for us?
No, man, I want to stay on all night. I could do this for hours and weeks and days. Yeah, I just hope you understand, and everybody who gets to watch this understands. We're trying to coach people through different parts of their life, right? But the reality, and to have success, whatever that is kind of deemed, right? To whatever level they deem that as. But these are lessons that we're trying to get across for a lifetime, and we're learning as much as anyone on these pieces. There's so many great people that have taught me as coaches, my parents, my family, friends, everybody, and the value of what we're doing is just trying to create more villages for people, for teenagers out there, and to be part of a village for them, to help them get through and learn some more things about themselves, or what they can achieve, and how to be able to get that while enjoying that process. And I think that's what we're trying to do. That's why these guys have joined me on this mission. It's definitely a mission. It's something that we're trying to do and positively impact others. Period. Not a company that we're trying to grow and sell, and an idea that we want to spin off and just kind of be done and, and market it and somebody else does it. Like, no, we want to be part of people's growth in their life.